Hello there, aspiring tennos. Today, we're going to settle the age-old debate, which one is better, Warframe.market or Trade Chat. Except that's not at all what we're doing today. Yeah, sorry about that. I will say right away, no beating around the bush here. I really like Warframe.market. I have a preference for that, so that's my bias out of the way. With that said, however, both Warframe.market as well as Trade Chat is tools, very powerful tools, and you really should be using both, as they each have something that they are almost non-arguably the best at. However, there are a gray area where it comes down to preference, and that I'll also discuss today. First, we'll talk about the functionality of Warframe.market. Then we'll discuss what Warframe.market is the best at. Period. No discussion. Then we'll talk about what the in-game chat is the best at. No questions asked as well. And then we'll talk about the sort of gray area. So, if you haven't subscribed yet, why not? I try to get you informative videos out as often as possible, and I really take care not to make mistakes, even though I am just human. Anyways, it would help a lot if you could subscribe and like the video. And also check out the Discord. Now, enough of that. Let's go ahead and actually get into the video. So first up, let's talk about Warframe.market's core concept, its main function, I guess you could say. So we have here a item. This is the bow prime ornament. All right. Now we have the prices here. This is the prices at which people are selling, and we have buy orders as well. So this is the prices at which people are buying. That's deceptively simple, and it really opens up the possibility for a lot of different trading strategies that otherwise wouldn't be possible, most of which I've already covered to some capacity. Now, obviously, you can go ahead and throw up a sell order, which is, by the way, what you should do. When it comes to both buying and selling these relatively small and relatively cheap items, then you should go ahead and use Warframe.market, just because the time investment can never be worth it in Trade Chat if the reward is this small. So that's where Warframe.market will always excel and be the best. Changed my mind, but I'm fairly certain about that. No, actually, I'm certain about that. I'll stand my ground. Now, we also have this relatively new function here, which is contracts. And this definitely falls into the gray area, but you can go ahead and sign up your Hoover weapons, your Liches, your Sisters, and your Ribbon mods as well. And most commonly, it's going to be cheaper to buy them from Warframe.market. Not always, but most commonly. You will also not get as much for your ribbons selling them on Warframe.market, unless it's gacha ribbons. Then it's kind of irrelevant because there's so few of them. But obviously, always keep the time investment in mind if you decide to sit in Trade Chat. Alright, so that's pretty much all there is to that. We also have this tool here called the Doginator. Don't use this. Specifically, do not use this. This is pretty bad, and well, you'll see why in the very next segment. So that's basically Warframe.market and what it can do for you. So always sell your cheaper items here. Now we'll jump onto Warframe itself and take a look at Trade Chat. Now, I was lucky enough to log on and immediately see an offer which I thought was pretty decent. And this is one of the benefits of chat in game. You can see here this guy, okay, it's actually not in the private messages, but he wanted, he was willing to sell 6 Aya for 60 platinum, and I asked if I could get it for 650 instead, and he said, yeah, sure, we can do that. So that's pretty good. That's a pretty good purchase for me. I'm absolutely willing to do that. That's a low effort, but with a really high reward. So he had 38 of them, and I can just go ahead and snag all of them. Since I'm reselling them and not opening them, then I'm not that concerned about the difference. Any purchase is worth it. But anyways, I'll be back in a moment. But yeah, anyways, that was a bit unexpected, but pretty great. One of the things that I would have brought up was bartering. You can't really do that on Warframe.market. Well, you can, but most people will just no. And I kind of understand that. If you're taking the Warframe.market approach, you're not too interested in that kind of thing. The other part is buying in bulk, which luckily the former clip also demonstrates quite nicely. On Warframe.market, if you want a lot of, I don't know, let's just say lith relics, for example, you can't really just search for that. It's going to be one specific lith relics or just relics in general. Or prime parts, for example, if you're buying it as prime junk, you can't really do that all that well. You can't really expect to get full trades or like good value on Warframe.market. So in terms of buying in bulk, always do it in trade chat. It cannot be beat. Most of these are just quick sell orders, but I will say that you will get a lot more offers if you put up buy orders for bulk, comparative to if you actively look for people in chat. You can do that, throw on a couple of filters. Actually, let's go ahead and take a look at that. Here we have the trade chat, and I'm really into buying L4 relics right now, so I'm looking for Aya. So I want to see if people throw up a sell order. Also, this gives me an opportunity to look at other people and see what their prices is, so that I more accurately knows exactly how to price my own to make sure that I get more offers. It's a bit early in the day, so there's not that much going on, but that's basically how you do that. That's the one thing where you can't really argue that Warframe.market would be better. This is always going to be the best option for bulk. Now let's move on and talk about the gray area. All right, now let's talk about the debate. This is basically what it comes down to when people argue for Warframe.market against trade chat, or the other way around. If we look at something like World Prime, which is sort of in the middle of everything, you know, he's decently priced. You can get a worthy reward. You could get lucky and sell this for 200. Basically, Ivara Prime, which costs about 40 now, but let's just say she was unvaulted and she was 30. Or let's say Titania Prime, just for the sake of argument. Let's say she costs 30. It's very difficult to sell her for 100, but it's decently easy to sell this for 200 comparatively speaking. Even though the difference is 70 platinum either way, people are often willing to spend more, pay more of an overprice for items if they're already expensive. For example, if you're buying a pack of, I don't know, something which costs $20, if you can save 10 on that, then that's a steal. However, if you're buying a car for 10,000 and you can save $10 on that, you probably won't care, even though, well, you're saving the same amount. And that's the same principle here. The more expensive the item is, the more you can push the price outside of its price range. So you can kind of think of it as a percentage of the price. That's the wiggle room you have in terms of your pricings on the trade chat, whereas the prices on here is pretty much set. The benefit of selling it here is that it's instant. You throw up the order, you say, well, I have one of them and it costs 130, and then post. I won't do it because I don't actually have a set, but that's it. Then you don't have to think about it until you find a buyer. Reversely, in trade chat, you're gonna have to spend some time there to actually sell it, but when you do sell it, then of course it will be at a higher price. Now, how much higher? That's a tough discussion, and it's one that's outside the scope of this video. But I am working on that very video at this time, so if you don't want to miss it, make sure that you subscribe. Now, buy orders are actually really good, and I do want to. I use this quite a bit with Ivara when I was stockpiling her. The price is slowly going up, but it has been stable at 30 for a while. This won't be the case much longer. Obviously, she's increasing in price fast, but it's better to pay 33 for her than to pay, oh, it's almost the same, but it was 40 the other day, and this won't stay up for too long. So I hope you get the point here, and I hope that you were able to use these tips. Also, actually, there's one more thing I would like to mention while we're here, and it's very important. Ignore this is not that important, but basically you want to look at the average here for these items. You can see here that it sells 200 of them a day. Rough. Okay, that's a bit of an exaggeration. I think it's more like 175 is the average here. So that's, I mean, if there's a lot of them being sold, then you won't. I have some items which are worth a lot, but about 4 of them is being sold a day, so it can take multiple days to get rid of one. If the profit is 300, that's fine, because I don't have to do anything. I just, you know, it's passive. So that's pretty decent. Let's go ahead and take a look at Loki Prime, for example. And take a look at his statistics. It's kind of fun to see, like, the Prime Resurgence event happened and then dook, goes the prices. But also, as you can see here, when he was at his most expensive, you were able to sell maybe 20 is a day. And then he comes out and everyone gets their fill. The price stays kind of high because a lot of them is being sold. Then as the demand sort of start to taper off, you start to see fewer and fewer of them being sold. So I'm just saying, make sure this number is not too low. If it's below 50, then if it's a very cheap item, don't do it. If it's below 20, then the item should cost at least 50. And if it's a very expensive item, then it still has to sell at least 3 or 4 a day. Otherwise, you're just never gonna be able to sell it. Because even if 1 or 2 are selling every other day, that could just be fake manipulation of the market. However, something which sells this many is a little bit more difficult to cheat. Anyways, I hope that this was somewhat helpful to you. And I know it's a little bit of a different video, but it's in preparation of me talking about trade chat in general. So yeah, I guess get hyped for that. No, I'm too old for this. But I think you guys are too. But I'll see you in the next one.